Hi, Stan Griffin, pastor of the Cornerstone Baptist Church in Exeter, and this is Garage Talk. Ball joints. I think every car has one. It's an ingenious device. It allows your vehicle, your front wheels, to go up and down like that with a suspension, and also to steer. This is a nice car. It looks terrific. You know, it's got 175,000 miles on it. And with that kind of mileage, after a while, things get worn. So the ball joints are loose on this, and we have to replace them. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's just a small item right here. This one is a bolt-on ball joint. Has a grease fitting right there when we're done. Bolt that on, and then it can steer, and then it can work with the tire and the suspension. Now it's stiff because it's brand new, but once it's on the vehicle, that'll move freely, and that will make the car what you hope it would be. So it's not a big deal. Things get tired. You get tired, I get tired. It reminds me, though, of a lot of, when it comes to steering is choosing the direction that you go in life. We've been steering for a long, long time. For me, I'll give you a little history. When we were young, my dad used to let me sit in his lap in the car, and we'd go down the road, and I was so little, I didn't get the idea of turning the wheel, so I just kind of hoped that it would go in the right direction, and I always noticed that I wandered towards the ditch, and that wasn't good, and Dad would have to grab the wheel and correct it. So Dad was my overseer at the time. That always happened, strangest thing, when we were leaving church. When we're coming out of church, we'd always say, Dad, can I drive, can I drive, can I drive? We're like 5 years old. We were young, and there wasn't a lot of cars on the road back then, so it wasn't a big deal. Nobody cared. As you got older, you'd pretend to drive. Do you remember when you'd sit on a chair and you'd drive and steer? And I had a standard shift, and I could make all the noises, and it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of gears. And then you come to, and it was great fun. Take that road. And you come around that way. So that's how I practiced driving in the yard. We all did it as kids. It was a good time.
You still drive that way?
I still drive that way? I'm offended by that. So then as you get older and you start actually driving, I was a right-handed driver. I'm going down the road, leaning on my door, and I'm thinking, well, this is no good. I want to be able to hold my girl's hand, or better yet, dare I say, possibly put my hand on her knee when we're going down the road. Those were days when there was no center, the bench seats, and your girl could sit next to you, and those were good days. So I wanted to make sure I could drive left-handed, so I started practicing driving left-handed. So if I ever had a girl, which it was doubtful, but if I ever met somebody, I'd be able to hold her hand and go down the road, and thankfully that seemed to work out. Asking for direction is a problem for a guy. Have you ever been criticized for that? We'll be going somewhere, and your wife will say, do you know where you're going? Of course I know where I'm going. And then after a while, should we stop and ask for directions? The Bible has a lot to say about the routes that you take and the direction that you go. There's the narrow way, and then there's the wide way. There's the paths that seem rough, the Bible talks about, and then there's the paths that are easygoing. And ideally, remember the book Pilgrim's Progress? Pilgrim was on a journey to the celestial city, and obviously the story that was behind all of the Slough of Despond and some of the adversaries that were against him on the trip. You and I are on a trip, whether we're in a car or in life. Every day we're headed in a direction. We're going down a road of life. and where you're just traveling through. And the fact of the matter is, at some point, this journey is going to come to an end. And so I have to ask, are you going in the right direction? Is what you are doing working for you? If it is, great, congratulations, that's wonderful. But every now and then, we have to make a course correction if we realize what we're doing is not working. Just like my dad, when I'm sitting in his lap and he'd have to grab the wheel and fix things. And every now and then I've noticed that my Heavenly Father has had to grab the wheel in my life and adjust some things. And sometimes I appreciate it, and honestly, sometimes I don't. But it's a good thing. So as you're steering your vehicle, or hey, try this. Sit down in the chair and pretend you're driving. Be a kid again. It's a lot of fun. But when you're done, consider the direction that you're going in life. And why not ask for God's help in that direction? And ask Him to lead you and guide you. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path. He'll help steer you. Hope that makes sense, and thanks for watching, and see you in church on Sunday, I hope.
You should sit in the front seat and try to put your hand on my leg or something.
Oh, yeah, that would be
And then I'll slap it or something.
Yeah. Can we do it in your vehicle? Yeah. Yeah.
That'll work.
Okay, fine. All right.